Hi, I'm Cody from Wall Street Breakdown. It's September 14th. That happened to fall on a Thursday on this year, 2017. And that's me and you, we're looking at a market recap. You're pretty fired up? I'm pretty fired up. Let's take a look at what happened. First off, the Dow finished up 45 today to close at 22,203. That's not bad, right? You know a secret about that? That's the Dow record all-time high close. So you know how I've been saying the American economy is doing pretty good? This really helps to reaffirm it. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. These kind of numbers, these all-time highs after all-time highs, they're not anomalies. People may not agree with some of the politics going on in the United States, right? People fall on either side of the fence there. Very polarizing topic. When we're talking about this right here, this comes down to the brass tacks. This is the money. Doesn't matter. Things could be all peachy keen. We could be all hugging in the streets. But if we're not running good economy, if business isn't doing well, you're going to suffer. So when business is doing well, there's enough people out there watching and wanting to invest in well-run business and strong economies. And what you're seeing right now with the Dow being up at a record high is that. 100% that. The S&P was down, but down nominally, 2.75. It's very nominal. I'm taking you way over to where the kids have put paintings on the wall. You don't want to go way over there. That is not going to help your portfolio. Don't consult your licensed professional financial advisor about anything over on that wall. Let's go back over here where the S&P again was down. 2.75, nothing major, very nominal. Down in Canada, way down there. Hopefully it's warm down there, because in actual Canada, way up there, it is cold. It is getting cold already. This will be the last you'll see of any type of skin from me. I will be in a turtleneck, I assume, from here on out for the next 8 months. That's kind of how it works. But in Canada, the TSX was down a little bit yesterday, but was up over 100 the day before. Was up 45 again today. Canada. We're getting our stuff in order here. We're not just talking about the country as a whole. We're not saying we weren't a strong... And again, I think this kind of goes back to that same politics thing, actually, I said. I didn't even kind of relate those two until now. We've got a bunch of politicians in the federal office, and we've got some politicians here provincially that are... You want to trade? Do you want to trade? We'll trade you. You can send us Donald Trump, the guy who's made himself a billionaire multiple times over in the face of tons of adversity. People basically laughing in the man's face, but seems to persevere, continues to persevere being the president-elect of the United States. But up here we've got, I'll trade. Anyways, the TSX is up because Canada, again, you can almost not bad politic, really good economy, and we're moving in the right direction. We had Sobeys have an earnings call today. Now, Sobeys had a really poor transaction a few years ago, bringing on Safeway up here in Canada. It didn't turn out as well as they had hoped. It cost them a lot of money. The transition wasn't as smooth, anywhere near as smooth as they had hoped. It's finally turning around. Great earnings call, revenue up, profit up, foot traffic up. The CEO says finally they're starting to win back the confidence of people. They had lost what they feel like was a lot of confidence because of a really bad Safeway acquisition. Now they feel like they're getting that back on track. Sobeys with an excellent earnings call, definitely helping the TSX stay with a big bump. We take a look over at the Dow and the S&P and who did what. Chesapeake up again, 4.1%. We talked about this yesterday. Chesapeake Energy trading near the bottom of their 52-week low range right now. That's 2 days in a row they've been up pretty significant. They're the top gainer in the S&P, actually. So it was a pretty significant gain again. Now, you got to remember, Chesapeake at one point in time, and I'm not saying they're going there. Trust me, they're up on a little bit of news, right? They're not up because they've changed the fundamentals of the company, but there was a point about 10 years ago where Chesapeake traded at $60 a share. They traded just over $4 right now. So, you know, that's a big range that Chesapeake has once been in. They're definitely on their way back up. But again, they've been trading very, very low recently. But 2 days in a row of good numbers is not a bad thing. Michael Kors up. Michael Kors, also the owner of Jimmy Choo. Pretty big transaction earlier this year. They paid high price to bring on Jimmy Choo shoes with Michael Kors. They're up on basically no news. Retail is doing well. So Kors is up. Kors up 3.5%. Range Resources up 3%. Now, Range is an independent nat gas and oil company. They do a lot of exploration and development of properties, but They were in Hurricane Harvey's path. So they took a beating last week. This week, they've been up. We've got them finally on here. It's been 3 days in a row. I've been seeing them on there. I thought, you got to give them a little bit of love just because they're a smaller company. Doesn't mean they shouldn't deserve a little bit. They had a bigger pullback than they deserved to have last week in the face of a whole bunch of what was not unfounded. It was feared, right, and rightfully so, from hurricanes doing a lot of damage and shutting down a lot of refineries, a lot of businesses, a lot of everything. But a lot of companies took a much bigger pullback than they needed. And we're seeing that this week with a lot of companies getting money back on the table. Tiffany & Company down 4.8%. That's coming on news of the Qatar Investment Authority. They own quite a bit of Tiffany, but they are selling a 4.4 million block of shares at 94.40. Tiffany closed just a little above that today, being down 4.8%. They're still going to own the Qatar Investment Authority through a subsidiary company. They still own another 9% stake. So it's not like they're entirely out of Tiffany, but taking a step out of Tiffany, that's significant. When you're that significant of a shareholder, definitely sends some shockwaves, I would imagine, through the marketplace. And not only that, when you set a price, with a 4.4 million share block, you're pretty much setting the price. That's the market's going to adjust to that unless you're way out to lunch, way high. And they're not. They're right in the wheelhouse of where it is. So I would imagine that's going to be the price we're going to see pretty tight here as this trade goes down. Navient down 4.6%. Navient's a loan management and asset recouping, I guess, company. Somebody that they go out and, they do everything from loans, student loans, all that kind of stuff, all the way down to figuring it out on the end when you don't decide to pay. They were down. There was no news. They were just up all last week. They were up going into today. Eventually, you got to take a bit of a pullback. They'd been up so consistently with no real news to back it up. I guess people just thought there's got to be a bit of a pullback at some point. Unfortunately, they took a big one at 4.6%. Alphabet, the company that runs Google, the company that is Google, now named Alphabet, is talking about potentially being an investor in Lyft, up to $1 billion. They were one of the early investors in Uber. Lyft is obviously Uber's biggest competitor in the kind of freelance taxi cab market. So there could be a bit of an arrangement there, I would imagine. Anytime that you get Google on board, that's big news. You're moving the needle at that point. Talk about moving the needle, these guys. North Korea, go away. You know what? Nobody buys it. You're not doing nothing. You shot a missile over Japan and made a lot of people upset. And now there's a whole lot of people talking about how poor your summer crops grew and how bad the harvest is going to be and how in dire straits your country already is. And you're out here trying to strong arm people like what? Like anybody's, like we're shook. Like, yeah, buddy, I'm shook. I'm super shook over here. You're not getting nowhere with any of this. You're going to get wiped off the face of the earth if you keep doing this. Why do it? Why pursue this? People are going to sanction your country even further to the point where there's no sanction left. It's just you walk out of your house and someone's there to kick you in the shin. That's going to be pretty much it. I mean, nobody believes that you're going to take over the world. All you're doing is digging yourself a further ditch and disrupting a lot of stuff. We've got a good market going here around the world. Not just in one place. We know you're not doing very well, but if you got on board with everybody else that plays the game the way it's supposed to be played and had a little bit of humanity, I think you'd find that we could all get along, but you just really don't want to, right? You just really want to disrupt the boat. You better watch out. Japan might just walk over there and punch you in the mouth. Seriously. You might not even get the U.S. making their way over there before you start shooting stuff around Japan. It's not like those guys, just because they're very docile now, they're not a country full of pride. There's a lot of pride there, and you're really stirring the pot for no reason. People aren't doing anything to you. Stop being on this board. I don't want to talk about you anymore. You, unfortunately, not your people. Your people are probably fine people to the most extent, like everywhere else, but you as a country, especially as this world power you'd like to dream you are very inconsequential and insignificant. So please stay off the board. Otherwise, the Dow was up, hit a record high, the S&P down nominally, the TSX up, bringing it back up for a really good gain this week. We've been doing really good. Chesapeake up, Michael Kors, Range Resources, Tiffany and Navient taking a bit of a hit. Tiffany losing 4.4 million shares being sold out there. I'm Cody from Wall Street Breakdown. This was the market recap for Thursday, September 14th, 2017. If you haven't done it already, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell. We'll be back here every day the market's open.